Hi, welcome to my video on division of decimals. Let's review dividing up two whole numbers, writing it out different ways. We got a fraction, we could have division, or we could have say the division sign, calculator way, and long division. 2/5 is 2 divided by 5. 2 division on a calculator. When you hit division sign on the calculator, you see a bar. Long division is 5 divided into 2. 11 divided by 7 is a fraction of 11 over 7. As a calculator is 11 divided by 7 and 7 divided into 11. 3 divided into 8, 8 over 3. 8 divided by 3, or calculator is 8 division 3. Let me show you the calculator. 8 divided by 3, turn it on, and we have 8, division sign is right here, and divide by 3. So there's 8 divided by 3 on a calculator. So the bar is the division sign. You work these out, play it back, see if you're right. 4 divided by 7, 4 divided by 7, or 7 into 4 the long way. 9 divided into 5, so that's 5 over 9. 5 divided by 9. 5 divided by 9 is on the calculator. And if the calculator got 15 divided by 11, so it's 15 over 11. 15 division 11. And if you're doing the long way, it's 11 divided into 15. So notice the long way to divide is backwards in relation to the calculator, division sign, etc. Let's look at long division. As a fraction we know is a numerator and denominator. But when we take the fraction and write it in long division form, the denominator is first into the numerator. So, but in math, sometimes we have these words to say, the divisor divided into the dividend gives you the quotient and a remainder. So the divisor is your denominator, your dividend is your numerator. And the answer you get when you divide is your quotient, and what's left over is your remainder. So in 15 divided by 3, it's 3 divided into 15. 3 into 15 goes 5. 3 5s are 15. Subtracting, you get a 0. So your divisor is 3. Your dividend is 15. Your quotient is 5. And your remainder is 0 in this example. In 9 over 4, 4 divided into 9. 4 into 9 goes 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtracting, you get a 1. So when you have 9 over 4, your divisor is your denominator, which is 4. Your dividend is your 9. Your quotient is 2. And your remainder is 1. So this is some terms that you get used to when you're talking about fractions and divisions, things like that. Practice. 12 divided by 4, 4 into 12. 4 into 12 goes 3. 3 4s makes 12. And so when we divide this out, my divisor is 4. My dividend is 12. The quotient is 3. The remainder is 0. 27 divided by 10. 10 divided into 7, write it down the long way. 10 and 27 goes 2. 2 10s are 20. Subtract, you get a 7. So your divisor is your 10. Your dividend is your 27. Your quotient is 2, and the remainder is 7. Just a little bit of practice in writing up into this long division form. Divisor, dividend, quotient, remainder. Your divisor is your denominator. It's dividing it into denominator. And your dividend is your numerator. Okay, let's continue. Let's change each equivalent fraction so that the denominator is a whole number. Each fraction below has one decimal place in your denominator, So we multiply by 10, numerator and denominator by 10. So 10 times each of these gives us 40 over 2. Decimal moves one place to the right. One decimal place, so we multiply by 10. Decimal 3 times 10 is 3. 6 decimal 9 multiplied by 10 is 69. When we multiply by 10 over 10, 1.4 becomes 14, and 71.4. When we multiply by 10, the decimal moves one place to the right, one place to the right. If you have two decimal places in your denominator, you multiply the numerator and denominator by 100. So 100 times the numerator and denominator. 100 times 6 is 600. And decimal 02 times 100 is 2, because the decimal moves two places to the right. Remember, 6 got a 6 decimal. So when you move it two places, you got 1 0, 2 zeros. Decimal 16, to get rid of the decimal in your denominator, you multiply by 100. Decimal 16 times 100 is 16, two places to the right, 1, 2. Decimal 7 times 100 is two places, so 7 and then a 0. Multiply by 100 because there's two decimal places in the denominator. So 4 decimal 23 comes 4, 2, 3. Move it two places. 15 multiplied by 100, decimal 15 times 100 is 15, two places to the right. And if you have three decimal places in your denominator, you multiply the numerator and the denominator by 1,000. Remember, do not have a decimal in your denominator. So 1,000 times decimal 003 is 3. And decimal 1 times 1,000 is 100. Notice 1, 2, 3. Three places. 1, 1, 0, second 0. Multiply by 1,000, top and bottom, to get the equivalent. 2 times 1,000 is 2,000. And when multiply by 1,000, moves three places. 1, 2, 3, so we get 71. Three places, multiply by 1,000. 13 times 1,000 is 13,000. And multiply by 1,000, four places. The decimal moves, so it moves 1, 2, 3. You try these yourself now. Pause the video, work these out, see if you're right. Multiply by 10 over 10. Decimal 4 times 10 is 4. Decimal 8 times 10 is 8. Multiply by 1,000 because it's three decimal places. And that gives us, at the bottom is 1, 2, 3. That gives us the 2. Decimal 03 is 30 because it moves 1, 2, and another 0. Multiply by 100 because there's two decimal places in your denominator. So that gives us 25 times, decimal 25 times 100 is 25. And two places is 70710. Two places, 1, 2. Multiply by 10 because one place in the bottom. Decimal 13 by 10 is 13. 2 times 10 is 20. And we multiply by 100 because there's two decimal places in the denominator. So it's 2, 3, 4, moves two places. 1, 2, because you multiply by 100. Decimal 6 times 100 is 1, 2, 3. So you get 60. Decimal 6 times 100 is two places. 1, 2. So you see you get a 60. 1 and another 0. And you multiply by 1,000, moves it three places. So your denominator three places. 1, 2, 3 gives you 11. And you move decimal 7 three places. Is 7, 0, 0. 1 and two more zeros. Okay. When dividing by a decimal numeral, the decimal numeral should always be a whole number. If the divisor is not a whole number, you should change the whole number by moving the decimal point in your divisor and your dividend the same number of decimal places. And then you move your decimal point directly up. Notice in the first one, A, 4 is to the right of the decimal. Decimal is to the right of 4, and the decimal between the 8 and 4. The decimal is already where I want the decimal to be on the right of your divisor, so it moves up without moving it sideways. Notice I have decimal 2 and 6 decimal. Now the divisor I move it one place, so I had to put a 0 on, put an arrow, and move it up. I have to move it one place, so I move 1 in my dividend, move it up. I have to move it 2 places, 2 in my divisor, so I had to put another 0 on, move it to there, and then move it up. So now notice this is a 3 into 60. You ignore the original decimals. Move it one place, and move it one place, and move it up. Move it 3 places in my divisor, 1, 2, 3. Move it 3 in my dividend. 1, 0 is second, that's a third, and move it up. So really you got 2 into 4, 8, 0, 0. And we move it 2 places in my divisor, 2 places in my dividend, move it up. 2 places in my divisor, and I got to put a 0 on, move it 1, 2, move it 1, 2, and move it up. So it's 72 into 80. Move it one place in my divisor, move it one place in my dividend, and move it up. So the decimal moves. Your divisor should be a whole number. Try these yourself, practice, see if you're right. Notice we're not dividing, we're just moving the decimal point. Decimals are in both numbers, so move it one place, move it one place, move it up. The decimal is in the 7 on the right, already where I want it, so I don't have to move it. It's already on the right, so I just move it up in my dividend. Move it one place, move it one place, move it up. Move it, decimals are here, so it's 3 places in my divisor. 3 places, goes between the 9 to 3, move it up. And my decimal in the 8 is right there. So I move it 2 places in my divisor, 1, 2. So I have to put 2 zeros on to move it up. Now as you can see, I'm dividing 5 into 800. And I got a decimal in my 3 is on the right. So I move it 2 places and move it 2 places, move it up. In my divisor, I move it 3 places. So I move it 3, 1, 2, 3, and move it up. 2 places. 1, 2, 2 places, right there. Notice I use arrows. Arrows indicates that that's where I'm moving it. It's good practice. Move it one place in my divisor, move it one place in my dividend, and move it up. Just a bit of practice. Hope you got them all right. If you do, let's continue. What about, we just practiced moving a decimal. Now we're going to divide. We're going to do all this over again, but now we're going to do the full division. If you're dividing to get it, notice I'm looking for, I got all these working out to be a terminal decimal. It's going to end. We rewrite as a long division. So here we go. Decimal 2. Notice the long division is the bottom, goes into the top. So that's my divisor, that's my dividend. We move it one place, move it one place, move it up. So now you got 2 into 14. 2 7s are 14. Subtract, you get 0, done, 7. I have decimal 003 divided into 3.93. Move it 3 places in my divisor, 3 places in my dividend. 1, 2, 3. So it's gone over right to there. So now I got 3 into 3930. 3 into 3 goes once, we get a 3, subtract, get a 0. 3 into 9 goes 3. 3 3s are 9, subtract and get a 0. You keep going until you get all of these used up, bring them all down eventually. 3 into 3 goes once, 3 1s are 3, subtract and get a 0. So you bring down this 0, 3 into that 0 is 0. So notice you have to keep going. 1 3 1 0. And C is a 1.1 into decimal 451. Move it one place, and move it up. So now I have 11 into 11 really into 451. So it won't go, and it'll go 4 times there. So 4 times 1 times 1 is 44. 4 times 1, 4. 4 times 1 is 4. Subtract, and I get a 1. Bring down my 1. 11 into 11 goes once. 1 times 11 is 11. I got a 0. and decimal 0.4 into 1.73. I move it 2 places in my divisor, 2 places in my dividend, and move it up. Now I got 4 into 173. 4 into 17 goes 4. I get a 16. Subtract and get a 1. Bring down your 3. 4 into 13 is 3 times 3 fours are 12. Subtract and I get a 1. Now you got to keep going because you got to terminate. Bring down a 0. So 4 into 10 goes 2 times. 2 fours or make 8. Subtract and I get a 2. Bring down another 0. I keep putting zeros on and bring them down until the term stops. Bring down your 0. 4 into 20 goes 5. Gives me 20 and it stops. So decimal 25 divided into 5.3. Remember, you could use a calculator, but practice the pen. The pencil, and the brain should be working great. Because most math, you have to work your pencil. You can use your calculator a lot of times, but math normally works out pretty good. 25 into 5 can't go. 25 into 53 goes 2. 2 times 25 is 50. Subtract and I get a 3. Bring down your 0. 25 into 30 goes once. 1 times 25 is 25. Subtract and I get a 5. I get another 0. Bring down a 0. 25 into 50 goes 2. 2 times 25 is 50 and it terminates. And decimal 0.08 into 1.92. 4 places. 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. And move it up. 8 into 1 can't go. 8 into 19 goes 2. 2 8s are 16. Subtract and you get a 3. Bring down your 2. 8 into 32 goes 4. 4 8s is 32. Subtract and you get a 0. Bring down that 0. 8 into 0 goes 0. Bring down the other 0. 8 into 0 goes 0. So I have to keep going until I get to... See, if you stopped here and wrote down 24, 24 times 8 wouldn't give you the... wouldn't work. Because 24 times 8 will give you 192. But what about... it won't give you the total answer. And again, try your calculator. 1.92 divided by 0.08. Decimal 0.08. See if the answer is right. And we got to practice. What you should do now is work these out first, and when you get them all worked out, watch me work them out to see if you're right. Or you can check with your calculator to make sure you're right. Anyway, decimal 8 into 13.68. Decimals are in both, so move it 1 in my divisor, 1 in my dividend. Move it up. 8 into 1 can't go. 8 into 13 goes once, so you get an 8. 13 subtract 8 is easy as 5. Bring down your 6. 8 into 56 is 7. 7 8s are 56. Subtract, you get a 0. You can put a 0 there if you want. Then you got to bring down your 8. So really that's 0 is not necessary, but 8 into 8 goes once. And I get an 8. 0 remainder. I have to keep going until all the digits are brought down. So decimal 15 into 4, 6, 5, and you got a decimal. 2 places in my divisor, 2 places in my dividend. The decimal has to move. I move it up. 15 into 46 goes 3. Gives me 45. Subtract and I get a 1. Bring down to 5. 15 to 15 goes once. 1 times 15 is 15. I subtract and I get a 0. Bring down that 0. That's 15 into 0 goes 0. Remember, I got to keep going until I get to that decimal. Decimal 0.04 divided into decimal 1.744. 3 places. 3 places. Move it up. 4 into 17 is 4. 4 4s is 16. Subtract, you get a 1. Bring down your 4. 4 into 14 goes 3. 3 4s are 12. Subtract, and you get a 2. Bring down this 4 now. 4 into 24 goes 6. I get a 24, so it terminates. Decimal 0.005 into 1.23. I have to move it 4 places in my divisor, so 4 in my dividend. 1, 2, 3, 4, done. Now I got a 5 divided into this. 5 into 12 goes 2, gives me 10. Subtract and get a 2. bring down your 3. 5 into 23 goes 4. 4 5s gives you 20. Subtract negative 3. Bring down a 0. 5 into 30 goes 6. 5 6 is 30. Subtract, you get a 0. But don't forget to bring down this other 0. 5 into that gives you 0. So you have 2,460. Check with your calculator. Make sure you're doing it right. So 42 decimal into decimal 462. Move your decimal 2 places in your divisor, 2 places in your dividend. So now you got 42 into 462. 42 into 46 is once. 42. Subtract 6, subtract 2 is 4. 42 into 42 goes once, so I get a 42. And decimal 102 into 2 decimal 448. Move my decimal place 3 places. Move it in my dividend 3 places. Move it up. 102 into 2, nope. 24, nope. 240, about 2 times, because you can see 101 into 2 is 2. So that's a 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract. And I get a 4. Subtract 4 is 0. 4 subtract 0 is 4. And I get a 0. The 0 I could put here, but it's not necessary. Bring down the 8. 4 into 4 goes once, so try a 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 1 is 4, and I get a remainder. So 24 is the answer. Now, when I'm doing these, you can see I got brackets and exponents and everything else. So PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S. And I have to work out my brackets or exponent, or brackets or parentheses first. So let's work out 1.715, subtract 1.712. Subtract, I get a 3, 0, 0, decimal 0. So that's a 0.003 when I subtract. So I have my parentheses or brackets done. Now I have to divide. So decimal 003 into 3.96. Move the decimal 3 places in my divisor, 3 places in my dividend, move it up. 3 into 3 goes once, I get a 3. Subtract, I get a 0. Bring down your 9. 3 into 9 goes 3. 3 3s are 9. Subtract, you get a 0. Bring down your 6. 3 into 6 goes 2. 2 3s are 6. Subtract and get a 0. I keep bringing these numbers down until we're finished. 3 into 0 goes 0. So I get 1320 for the final answer. And I got PEMDAS again. Notice after I worked out my brackets, I got to say, is there any exponents? No. Now I do my division. It's the only thing left. When I work out PEMDAS here, P-E-M-D-A-S, I got to work my brackets. So work my brackets first. Here we go. So if I add these up, it looks like I get 6 and 8 is 4, carry a 1. I get a 12.4. You want to write them down below each other, and you should be able to. And I have to subtract here, so I get 0.2 squared. So I have my brackets or parentheses done. Now I have to do my exponent next. So 12.6, add on 12.4, division. So I had to square, so I'm doing my exponents. So decimal 2 times decimal 2 is 2 times 2 is 4, and there's 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places, so I get decimal 04. Or I get 0.04 when I square it. Now I got multiplication division. As I go left to right, I got to do multiplication. I can't not do this addition. I have to leave that until after I divide. So now I got to divide. So decimal 04 into 12.4. 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places. 4 into 12 goes 3. 3 4s are 12. Subtract and get a 0. Bring down your 4. 4 into 4 goes once. 4 times 4 is 4. Subtract and get a 0. Bring down your next 0. 0 into 4 into 0 goes 0. So I get a 310. And I have 310 with a decimal. I'm going to add on 12 with a decimal. I have to line up my decimal places. And when I add, I put a 0 there. That's a 6. That's a decimal. That's a 2. That's a 2. And that's a 3. Decimals, when you add, the decimals got to go below each other. So 3, 2, 2, decimal 6. It's the final answer to that. Again, I emphasize parentheses. I emphasize the order of operations, powers, exponents, everything. Always work these out. Good to do. Excellent review. Keep it. If you're satisfied, you can click my like button, the subscribe button, notification bell. You can write a comment if you wish. And visit my math website, mathfullyexplained.com. You'll find information about me, which degrees, and my teaching experience, the videos, the teaching strategy I'm going to use in my videos is in this section. That'll strategies I use to help students learn their math, little tricks I use. And the content on in this section has the topics, the number of videos. The topics completed are in black font, and the topics to be completed are in red font, which will be done in the near future. And as I do and put them online, then the red font becomes black font. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.